All right, let's go out to Los Angeles, California, and talk to Anna. Anna, what's up, Anna?
Hey, Dr. John. I'm so excited to talk to you.
I'm
Thanks
excited
for
to talk
taking
to
my
you.
call.
What's up?
I've been listening to your show, and I know that you work with college students. So I have a question, and I'll just read what I sent in. So my son and his girlfriend are both college students, and they recently found out that they are expecting a baby.
Heyo.
So this is unplanned.
Just like you
but
drew
they
it
told
up,
me-
right, Mom? Yeah, exactly.
Right. I know. They told me they're having a baby and that their best case scenario is that they can stay in school and finish their degrees.
Okay.
They both have 2 years left and live on campus in the dorms. And their school is a 9-hour drive away from me in another state, not near any family. So my question to you is, a few, but they're kind of all the same. Have you seen this work? What is the best way that I can help them? Have you seen other young couples succeed in this situation? I know you have knowledge of college student issues, and I'm hoping you can shed some light.
Yeah. So, one thing I always told college students, whether they were coming home to tell their mom or dad that, or both, that they're having an unexpected pregnancy, or that they are dropping out of school, or that their parents didn't know it, but they're gay. Like whatever thing they were going to put down on the table. I used to always tell college students, you don't know this, but your parents have a picture about how this all plays out for you. It's not right, but it's their picture. So your parents get some time because everything's different now. And I would always hear students say like, oh yeah, but my dad, no, your dad gets a minute, right? And so I'll tell you, you get a minute. So I'm glad you called. And it's okay to go, that's okay. It's all right.
Right. One day my kid is a kid, and all of a sudden he's a soon-to-be parent.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We're looking at grades, and now we're looking at babies.
All right. So here is, you've probably heard me talk about my wife and I, as a family, we experienced 3 miscarriages right in a row. And the last one was pretty gnarly. All of them were gnarly. One of them almost killed my wife. And so then we had Josephine, my daughter. And it was a couple years into that. And I was working, I think she was 2. And a student walked in, a young woman. And I had my door open, and my door was usually closed. And my admin would receive all the visitors who came into our office complex. And I happened to have my door open, and this young woman came in with her head hanging low. And she said, hey, and she was speaking really quietly. And so I kind of leaned in because it sounded like there was an issue, but my admin was amazing and she's going to handle it. And I heard her say, hey, I just found out I'm pregnant and I need to figure out everything. It was this very hushed, quiet, heartbroken, devastated scene. And I got up from my desk and I walked out into the main lobby and I said, I'm interrupting here. I want you, and I pointed at the young woman, I want you to go back in the hallway. And I want you to come back in this door. And I want you to yell at the top of your lungs, I'm having a baby! And we're all going to cheer for you. Now, was I completely undermining the fact that this isn't how she drew up her life? No. Was I brushing aside how incredibly high the odds are stacked against her? No. But I'll be damned if I'm going to have another baby come into the world unwanted. And another baby enter into the world under a cloud of anything other than you're going to be miraculous and we're going to figure this thing out. And here's what's amazing. She did it, and she didn't yell like I wanted her to, but she did smile and say, I'm having a baby. And we all cheered, right? And we were all ridiculous. Her mom called me. And she was really choked up. She said, I didn't handle that news when I got it. Thank you for loving my baby. Okay? So I tell you that to tell you this. You know, like I know, the odds are stacked against your son and his girlfriend. both for their relationship to work out, for them to finish college, for their economics, like all that stuff. Now they have just entered into a path that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
And this baby being born under a cloud of shame is not going to help that path. Okay?
Right.
Is that fair?
Oh, definitely. And
Okay.
I told him that.
Awesome.
I said, nobody wants to come into the world unwanted.
There you go. So we're going to, from this point forward, we're having a baby. We're going to cheer this thing on. And part of having a baby is reality. And reality sucks, right? It's not fun.
That's the part I'm worried about.
All right. So have you connected with the mother's parents?
I am going to actually very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Okay. I would do that, and here's why. You're connected with that family whether you want to be or not for the rest of your life. Ta-da! It's so awesome being on this side of this conversation because I know you're like, I would punch you if you were sitting here. Fair enough. But you're connected. And so it's important to know what you're working with, right?
Right.
Do you have somebody that's just going to fight you and be angry and it's going to be like this and they're dropping out of school? Or do they have somebody who, hey, our children are having a baby, and so we're going to have to work together on this one? Okay. I think that conversation is really important. I think, number two, here's what I've seen work really well, sitting down with two young people and saying, here is reality. Y'all have created a world where y'all are going to keep living in the dorms. That world is not real. Y'all are going to have to get an apartment. The apartment's going to cost X. Some parents, and I'm not gonna put an opinion on the table here. I know what I would do with my kids, but every kid is different. Every family's different. Some parents will say, y'all are gonna live in a 1-bedroom apartment with a toddler. Our priority is that you graduate from college. And so as long as y'all are both in college, or one of you's in college, and then one of you takes a semester leave and then comes back, whatever that looks like, as long as you're in college, we're gonna pay for your apartment. Or we can't afford that. And one of y'all is going to have to quit and get a job. And the other one, we want to stay in school. Like, y'all sit down and just map that out. Here's how much diapers cost. Here's how much insurance cost. Here's how much hospital visits cost. And I know they have a fantasy about they're going to stay in their fraternity and sorority and keep doing their life or whatever things going on 8 hours away. When they look at the numbers and the math, it's probably wholly impractical for that to continue.
Right.
Right? But I want to encourage them. We are now in the persuasion business. We're not in the telling business. I want to show them and strongly encourage them. We can help with childcare if that's possible for you guys. We can help with support and care. Here's how hard this is going to be. And encourage them to go to a local school, if that's even possible. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to lay out reality. I want to provide some options, and I want you and your husband and hopefully the other set of parents, everybody on the same page about what support will look like if A, B, and C are met.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
this is so different. Like when I had I was married and had owned a home. So like I'm looking at this going, how can this even be possible? How can it actually work?
Got lots of young people that I know that had an apartment and they figured it out, made it work. And lots of young women who were single moms, had kids, and they made it work. And they have my lifetime respect. It was amazing. Lots of guys that dropped out of school because they had to go get a job. They had to get a job because they had a baby that needed diapers and have had to figure it out. It's definitely possible.
I think I just needed to hear some encouraging words. I've given him nothing but encouragement, and I honestly am really proud of myself that I reacted really well. I was the first one they told because I've always been available without judgment to come tell me things. And he was scared, but he told me first, and I was so honored, honestly. But I also am, I'm scared for them. This isn't the start that they wanted. It's exactly what you said. I had an idea in my head of what was what was going to happen with his school and finishing school and going into a career. And it just changed everything. And, so I'm just
I
worried
think
for
that
him.
I can't imagine a more important and honest and helpful conversation than what you just said. And I think it would be cool to sit down and lay it out. Here was my picture when you went off to college. And here's why that's important, because they have a picture that they haven't reckoned with yet. They think their life is going to continue and they're just going to have a glorified pet that they got together. Right? That's the way in their head, like, oh yeah, we'll just have a baby and it'd be cool. And what you're going to be able to say is, hey, I had this picture. You're going to graduate. You're going to get a job. And then you can look at her and say, you were going to meet someone just like her. And y'all were going to get married and have. And then I think the important part is, and that picture is gone. Doesn't exist. And so now we're painting a totally new picture on the fly, right? As we go, we are changing the oil on this car as it's flying down the highway.
Right.
And that's when I think just a quick piece of paper, you may have already worked it up and said, hey, I did just some basic math. Y'all probably don't know this, but kids poop 10 times a day.
And don't sleep.
And they don't sleep. And so the idea that you're going to get up for class, you're not. Or that you're going to do intramurals and be a part of the fraternity and be in the science club, you're not. You're a dad now. And I think it's dad comes before everything. And that means,
school.
Yeah, I mean, that means if there's a season, here's something that parents struggle with when it comes to college. Lots of my students took a semester off and came back. There is some data that says if you take that semester off, it's harder to come back, and that's true. But many, many, many students took a semester to go deal with mom because mom had cancer. To go deal with, I have to get a job because I can't afford the next semester and I'm not going to borrow money. And they came back and they finished. Or they went to a local community college for another semester because it was way cheaper than they finished at a local school. That's awesome.
Huh.
I have a close friend who came to college with us 7 or 8 hours away from home. We all finished pretty quick and he was a little slower. And then he went to a community college and then he ended up at the giant university in the city where we all grew up. And now he's like number 5 at this massive corporation. He's doing super amazing, right? So it's just about work ethic and character and all that stuff. The same as, you know that. It's just that everybody's plan blew up. And most 18 or 19 or 20-year-olds don't understand to the extent their plan is now different because they have a kid.
Right. I know. It's just, I think with the kid in there, if they leave school, then they may not go back. But I'm struggling with, it's not my life. It's theirs now. I can't fix this.
There you go. But you can be very clear about what your ground rules are going to be.
Okay.
And it may be that we will pay for school as long as you stay in school. I'm not going to knock that.
Yeah, that's definitely something we've discussed.
Cool. And I think your gut instinct is like, I'm going to punish you for doing that. Okay, cool. There's a human here, right? And it's not rewarding behavior. It's just looking at reality and knowing, whoa, things just got really complex, very, very hard. And it might be, we can't afford it. We can't help you. If y'all want to move back home, we'll help with childcare. You can leave the baby here while you're working because you're going to have 3 jobs.
Right. That's going to be a lot, yeah.
And you and husband have to, y'all weren't ready to be grandparents. Ta-da! You are.
No, definitely not.
You're now Grandma Anna.
I know. Way earlier than planned.
Way earlier.
But again, babies are good news. It just wasn't the news for you.
No, babies are good news, and this is your son made a choice, and his life is infinitely more complex than it was.
Exactly, because once she was pregnant, there's no easy decision from there.
Right.
And
but that's where your role as a parent is really important. Because those decisions feel overwhelming. So what most 19-year-olds do is they don't make them. They just
Right.
kick them down the road. And that's why they have parents to say, all right, here's your options. Drop out and go make some money. Drop out of college, your dream of becoming like a marketing executive, that's going to be over for a while. You're going to go get a plumbing certification. By the way, you're going to make more money and you're going to have more work forever that AI can't take from you, but you're going to go do that. Right?
Right.
And your picture of this young son of yours coming home with some stubble and a suit and tie, that's over. He's going to come home with a plumber's and he's going to be rich, right? He's going to put you in a nice home when you're old.
Hey, I don't have anything against that at all.
That's right.
But he's just, yeah.
But the picture changed. Or
Right.
both of y'all are going to go to school. Me and the other mom are going to we're going to alternate childcare because y'all are going to come home. You're going to move here. And we're going to figure it out. And then when y'all graduate, then y'all are going to be starting new jobs at 21, 22 with a baby.
Right.
And we're going to support you for the next 3 years. And here's what support means and actually looks like.
Right.
I think the clearest kind, letting them know, here's where this stands. And I'll go back to my original statement. You get a minute. Tell them, I may just burst into tears every once in a while, and I get to do that. And her dad may see you and punch you. He gets to do that.
Right.
You knocked up his daughter, right? I mean, whatever. But
Right.
I think it's just putting that on the table. Y'all get to be people too. You've done an amazing job, Anna.
Thank you.
The haunting thing of my job, number one, the worst parts of my job was telling a parent that their kid had died or their kid was in the hospital. The second most haunting part of my job was the number of moms and dads that called me in tears saying, I wish I could have just had that conversation back when I got news that was different than I wanted to hear. And it sounded like you nailed it. So good for you.
Thank you. I'm so glad because I really would have regretted it. And yeah,
that's right. And you can't get that conversation back. Kids will forgive you. Your son or daughter forgive you, but you'll always know, I wish I could have that one back. And I want to be super clear. I am not advocating for 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds to have babies together in college. That's hard. It's just hard.
Right. Yeah, I didn't get that from this conversation.
I'm not advocating for it all, but we're here now, right? We're here now.
Right.
And we just have to live in the reality. To live in that reality. Anna, call anytime. If your son wants to call, I'm happy to talk with him. I think that'd be a fun conversation as well. And I'm also super interested in how your conversation goes with your new in-laws that you weren't expecting. So great. You're awesome, Anna.